To the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. Great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, and enjoying my morning coffee, Noble Coffee, that is. Love the dark roast. Absolutely the best.
Me too.
Absolutely the best. You too, right? It's the best. Yep, Noble Coffee.
Oh yeah.
What is it? The French roast or the
This is the Kenyan.
the Kenyan dark roast. That's the other good. Yeah, those are the two dark roasts. Both are awesome. This one is French.
I've yet to try the French. That's next.
Yeah, this is what this is. So nice, smooth,
That's next on the list.
good stuff. Love me some Noble Coffee right down the road here. Really cool stuff.
Always strong and never bitter too. That's what I like.
That's the beauty of it. It's so smooth. Like it's actually the first coffee that got me capable of drinking coffee black with just like a packet or two of stevia. Because
Same.
it doesn't have that, like you said, it doesn't have that bitterness, which is really rare for a dark coffee too. Usually dark coffee is like
it is.
It's like cleaning out your sinuses. So no, it's well appreciated. So all right, so for today's opening rant, well, I was looking at the Giants, and they have quite the offseason ahead of them. Specifically, we know they have to improve their roster quite a bit. Receivers, receivers, linebackers, and probably defensive line. But talk about running backs and quarterback, both unrestricted free agent. And I have to tell you something, this front office, if they navigate this properly, have the potential to win executive of the year before the season even starts. And here's why I say that. Conventional wisdom is you pay your quarterback and running backs are interchangeable parts. This is not a conventional configuration here with the Giants. Barkley is not an interchangeable piece. And you could make the argument, in fact, I would, and I have throughout the year, that Daniel Jones's emergence as a desirable quarterback is directly due to and contingent on the continued excellence of Barkley being the bell cow, being the guy that scares defenses and has defenses built around stopping him, and Jones being able to play off of that. And so for that reason, now that said, Jones is still a starting quarterback who just had his best year, is going to command a healthy pay raise, and you don't want to start over at that position. But you also cannot afford to go forward with Jones, in my opinion, without Barkley or someone of his caliber. And guys of Barkley's caliber don't grow on trees. So
can they? I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Can they franchise Jones?
He's an unrestricted free agent.
He's unrestricted?
They both are. They both are. So they're both unrestricted free agents. So what I'm going to suggest is that if it comes down to it, I'm going with Barkley over Jones if I have to choose between the two, because what you can't have, because the roster's not good enough as is. There would be one thing if they were on the cusp of winning and basically you run it back and you have a chance to win the whole thing. They need significant upgrades still, like we were saying. So committing what it normally takes to retain a starting quarterback in terms of your cap and what Barkley's going to command, which what I'm reading is about $16 million a year is what he's looking for. He turned down an offer of $12 million a year from the Giants, which I don't think is unreasonable, the $16 million. I really don't. That,
as long as it's not like a 4 or 5 year.
Yeah. I mean, he's what, 27? So if you sign him to a 4-year deal, he's 31. That's not terrible. I think 4 is a reasonable length for Barkley. But anyway,
that would be it though.
Yeah, that would be it. But anyway, the point is, I'm not going to confuse things with details right now. That's not really relevant. The relevant thing is you have to, if you're the Giants, keep both of these guys, but be willing to sacrifice Jones if it's required to keep Barkley. Because if Jones is going to command on the open market, which is possible, hell, it's even possible from the co-tenant of their building, right? I mean, if he's going to command $30 million a year, which is very possible on the open market for a starting quarterback, I'm not paying Daniel Jones 30 million, 40 million a year, 35 million a year. If it means signing him and Barkley is going to mean I have 55% of my cap tied up in two guys. As much as I need both of them, I need Barkley more. Because Barkley proved this year that him healthy is capable of turning a borderline passable game manager, which is what Jones was before this year, into a quality starting quarterback. And I believe if he can do that with Daniel Jones, he could do that with Derek Carr. He could do that with Geno Smith. He could do that with, Ryan Tannehill. He could do that with a lot of different people. So he could do it with Tom Brady for that matter. But
he wasn't on the list.
No,
yesterday.
They weren't on the list yesterday.
Can I throw something out there?
Yeah, sure.
I'll try to stay relevant. Relax. It looks like Dallas may want to cut ties with Ezekiel Elliott. Mm-hmm. Would you sign Jones and take on Ezekiel Elliott, considering you could probably get him at a decent price because the Cowboys owe him $11.5 million next year.
Lose Barkley?
If it had to come to that.
No.
Okay.
I don't think there's two running backs in the NFL that are as good as Barkley. And I think to make a block quarterback good, you need one of those three guys. Like, it's only Barkley and Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey that this year have shown the ability to make a blah quarterback look really good. I mean, maybe Brock Purdy isn't blah, but maybe he is, and he just looks like he's not because, I mean, McCaffrey did the same thing with Garoppolo before he got hurt. Derrick Henry's done it with Tannehill for years. Tannehill was the defined prototypical journeyman before he hooked up with Henry, and Barkley did it with Jones this year. And those are the only three guys in the NFL that have done that right now. So, no,
makes sense.
To me, Barkley is the indispensable piece here. And this is a good year to kind of take your question, Rich, and turn it upside down. If I have to lose one of them, this is a good year to lose a guy like Jones because there are guys of his caliber more or less readily available. Derek Carr comes
a lot of whom you're going to have to pay, though.
Yeah, but you might pay less than Jones because they're all much older. You know what I mean? Like, so Jones is 27. Carr is what, 33, 34, 32, something like that. Yeah. Someone like Brady, if you were going to go that route, hypothetically, is, a 1-year contract, maybe a 2 at the most, right? So, I mean, and there's a number of those guys. You don't know what's going to happen with Lamar Jackson. We don't know what's going to happen with Geno Smith if Seattle's going to be in on Brady or Jackson or someone else. So all of these guys, because Jones is good but not stellar, as long as Barkley's there, I feel that like any of the guys I just mentioned, if you can get one of them at a competitive price, would be just as capable with Barkley in tow. But I think if you lose Barkley, none of the guys I mentioned are capable to keep you at the level you were at this year, let alone ascend. So to me, it's crazy to say, and I know it's like completely heresy in the modern NFL parlance, but the running back is the key here, not the quarterback as far as I'm concerned.
Actually, in this situation, it actually makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Another hypothetical. Take off your Giants GM hat and put on your Bills one. Ezekiel Elliott?
Yes.
Would you take him if you're Buffalo?
Yes, 100%. He's an upgrade for them. He's a major downgrade for the Giants. I think he's a big upgrade for the Bills. And the other thing is, assuming it's not an either or, I think him and Singletary make a great combination.
I think it'll be either or because I think it'll be him and Cook. Because I think Cook gives more of the Pollard element that Singletary does.
The speed and the elusiveness. Yeah, that's fine. So one of if it's Cook and Zeke, that works. Yeah, that works. I think that would be very good for Buffalo because the thing that Zeke gives you is he gives you a threat on every down to just like hand the ball to, power up the middle for 3 to 5 yards. The Bills don't really have that right now. So it's very easy to play nickel and dime against them as a base defense. It would be much harder to do that with Elliott on the field. And now all of a sudden, if you do get that extra receiver, now you have a base defense, not a nickel or dime, covering Diggs, this mystery guy, Davis, and Knox, with Allen still a threat with his legs. Now you're a much more dynamic and hard to prepare for offense. Plus, Zeke would give them an infusion of toughness and grit that, candidly, they seemed to lack against Cincinnati.
And I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah, that's atypical of them. I don't want to say that they're not a tough or gritty team, but that game they certainly weren't.
Because they didn't lack it all year.
No, they didn't. But yeah, so, but I think
another thing, if you're Dallas, why are you so anxious to dump Zeke? I know you can use the space, but how is Pollard going to be ready for the regular season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I personally would not be anxious to dump Elliott with or without Pollard, honestly. I think this guy is a very good NFL back. Now, he is, on the back end of his career, probably.
Got some wear on him.
But you still want him. I mean, you're not going to pay him. If he's looking for $13 million a year or something, you're not going to pay him that. But
he's on for one more year at 11.5.
Yeah, I would pay that. I don't think that's
which I don't think is outrageous.
No, I really don't either. Unless the Cowboys are really up against it and need to make some cuts. But honestly, that wouldn't be where I would look to do that. Where I would look to save some money if I'm Dallas is their offensive line is aging big time in a number of areas. And if there is a way I could somehow, by cutting someone, save a bunch of money on my cap and just take a short-term penalty along that offensive line, that would be where I would start to look first and foremost, not Elliott. That offensive line needs an infusion of youth and speed that, at one point a few years ago was probably the best offensive line in football.
Yeah.
Now it's looking a little old and creaky. Still good, but I think it's time, if you're going to save costs, I think that's the place to do it. That would be where I would start if I'm Dallas. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think there's a path for the Giants to keep Jones and Barkley, but it's going to take some maneuverability by the front office, and it's going to take some, if not concessions, acceptance of the bottom or middle tier of the range both guys get in free agency by both players to stay together. And I would assume Jones in particular, assuming his level of self-awareness is, reasonable, I would assume he wants no part of not having Barkley in his backfield next year. I'm sure he knows what Barkley did for him.
Oh, yeah. I would think he wants no part of not being around Brian Daboll either.
That too. Right. Well, I meant I assume they're going to keep Jones. What I'm saying is I think Jones would have in the back of his mind, hey, I want to make sure that whatever they pay me leaves enough to keep Barkley. I'm assuming that they'll keep, I'm assuming they won't take my approach. Like, if it was up to me and I had to choose between one or the other, I'm choosing Barkley. I'm assuming the Giants are not going to do that because no NFL team, I think, will have the guts to do that. But so I'm assuming Jones is there no matter what happens with Barkley. And what I'm saying is, if I'm Jones, I want to make sure when I'm negotiating with the Giants, I'm asking the question, hey, does this contract allow you to keep Barkley for what he's going to command and want? Because we need him. I think Jones has to have that presence of mind because he's not the same guy without Barkley. I don't think.
Right.
I really don't.
70% of the quarterbacks in the league would be.
Right, exactly. Maybe higher. Right, exactly. I mean, he's a true difference maker. A true difference maker. Put it this way. All right, you gave me a hypothetical. Here's one for you. We have to look at, I'd have to look at cap numbers and stuff, but this is just purely in a vacuum. Giants can't come to terms with them. You're the Bills. You call Barkley's agent. Oh boy.
I don't know.
Okay.
It would have to depend on the money because Allen kicks in next year.
Well,
his
he's already
deal, and
signed his extension, right? That's already signed.
yeah, but
Yeah,
that kicks
it
in
kicks in
next
year.
season,
Yep.
and that's going to take up 17% of the cap.
Right. Right.
They have enough holes to fill where I'm not going to throw the whole thing out because of one game.
Well, let me ask you this: if you were,
But they do have holes to fill. If
Yeah.
he's going to take another 17% of the cap, I'd say it would be tough.
Right. Well, he's not going to take 70% of the cap because what is Allen getting? 35 million a year, 30 million a year, 28?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they got him good for 30.
All right. Barkley's going to get half that at the most, basically. You know, at the most, he's going to get 15 or 16. So he's going to get half
Okay.
that
Then
at
if
the
I
most
could, and that would just equal 25% of my cap.
between the two of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
then
that's
I
what
would absolutely do it.
that's what I was
It's
going
not
to
a
ask you.
Kyler Murray situation.
No, that's what I was
You-
going to say. Is
You
like
have two guys who would make each other better.
100%. And if
And,
you
and
were,
that's scary.
and if you were okay with Elliott at 11 or 12, I was assuming you were okay with Barkley at 15 or 16.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah,
there.
right. Absolutely.
There's a real difference
Right.
there. And I think it would change the dynamic of that offense.
Oh, it certainly would. And, you know, I also wonder, he's received a lot of criticism. I wonder if it would make Dorsey a better play caller because you have things that require less imagination that it can now be a huge part of your playbook. I mean, it doesn't take any intelligence to be like, yeah, give the ball to Barkley 18 times, you know, 22 times. Like, and there's no reason you shouldn't do that if you have a guy like that on your team.
I would think so. Although the talk around here is the Jets asked to
interview him,
talk to the Bills quarterback coach for their offensive coordinator.
Mm.
And a few people in the know that I spoke to yesterday said, actually, they'd bounce Dorsey and make this guy the OC before they let him go to a competitor.
Mm.
Now, I think the Bills have to make him available for an interview. If it's equal position for position, they don't have to. But if it's an upgrade, you have to give a coach a chance.
Right, right, right.
Either that or make him a co-coordinator and put him in charge of the running game. But I wouldn't want to lose him. And not a lot of people are sold on Dorsey. I mean, how did he take Table's offense and just end up with this?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's a fair question. Like I said yesterday, I think it's probably unrealistic to expect anyone to follow Dable and be his equal. I think there's a reason he's likely going to be the coach of the year this year. I think he's a unique talent, just like there's unique talents as athletes, there's unique talents as coaches, and Dable's one of them. Now, was the fall off so great and so unacceptable that a replacement guy is highly likely to be more effective than Dorsey? I can't answer that question, but that would be the question if I was in that room making that decision that I would have to ask. I'm not asking why can't he be Dable? That's not fair to ask. That's like saying, yeah, why can't Thomas Bryant be LeBron James? Well, he's not, because he's not. Like, you know, but like, I think it's fair to ask, is random assistant X likely to be better? And if the answer to that question is yes, then you make a move. That would be how I would approach it anyway.
Yeah, he's someone I wouldn't want to lose.
Dorsey?
No, the quarterback coach, because I like his approach.
Gotcha. Understood.
I was never real fond of Dorsey. I mean, well, and no, neither of them will be Dable. But Dable used Singletary completely different the season before.
Definitely did.
When he had 1,000-yard year and caught 30 passes. I don't think the guy just forgot how to do all that stuff.
No, I mean, and that's the deal with it, right? Is you lose a lot of people when you change coaches. Like, you know, some people, like we were talking about a week or so ago in the context of basketball, some guys are fits for certain coaches and some guys aren't. And that's the case with almost all role players in every sport. Like,
Right.
Singletary is a
Right.
role player. He's a good player, but he's a role player. And
He's a productive role
he's
player.
a productive
Yeah.
role player. But his skill set fit what Dable did better than what Dorsey managed to do. And, is that Dorsey's fault? Maybe. Maybe not. I can't really say. But I will say that I think that it's not necessarily a fireable offense if you're a coordinator, if a couple of role players that fit better under your predecessor system don't really fit under
Oh,
yours.
yeah.
You go and find other role players that fit that new system better. I think that's reasonable. Now, if
Right. And he
it's
was also a first-year coordinator, so
yes, there's
it's
that. Now, look, if you're Mike D'Antoni turning Pal Gasol into Steve Novak, that's a different story. But
1025 and a Steve Novak
that's
reference.
right.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. I always liked Steve as a person.
Yes. He was just a statue shooter in the NBA, but
He was a good guy.
yes. Oh, by the way, speaking of the Lakers, they did a little something yesterday.
They want to become the 2021 Washington Wizards.
They did something.
They have their fourth wizard now to go along with Westbrook, Troy Brown, and Thomas Bryant.
There we
They
go.
picked up Mr. Hachimura in a great trade.
We will break that trade down on the other side of this break. Then we'll hit the question of the day. That's what's on tap the rest of the hour. We'll get to some NBA, top 5, hockey, and news you can use in the hour to come. A lot to get to. Stay with us. It's the Gary Ayd Show here in the camp.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
So you mentioned the Hachimura trade right before the break, Rich. This is exactly the type of trade I think the Lakers needed. I really do. This is a trade I look at as a big win for them. Look, you traded a handful. I think it was 3 second-round picks. Those are irrelevant. Yeah, those mean nothing.
Yeah.
And a guy in Kendrick
They're like
Nunn.
Starbucks coupons.
That's right. And a guy like Kendrick Nunn who, hasn't fit there. So you get a guy in Hachimura who fits some needs. He's long, he's athletic, he's young.
He can guard 3 positions.
He's versatile defensively.
He's still 24 years old.
Well, he's a third-year
And he was
player.
criminally underused in Washington.
I like this trade a lot for the Lakers. It's a high upside with virtually no downside. You basically essentially cut a guy that wasn't working, and you gave away 3 guys that probably will never play in the NBA. The second-round draft picks for 24-year-old.
Although, somebody I know last night, who was a bigger Laker fan than you are,
oh boy,
said, Oh, great. With our luck. He goes, I like the trade, but with our luck, none's going to go to Washington and score 20 a night.
Oh no.
I said, it doesn't matter what he does.
It's what Hachimura
Right
does.
now, it matters what Hachimura does.
And you know what? None very well might score a bunch of points in Washington because
He did in Miami.
right. I mean, look, subpar players score more than they're capable of really in bad teams because someone has to shoot the ball every possession. Right? Like,
See, and I don't consider None a subpar player because he did it in Miami when they were going to a championship.
yeah, I mean, he was a good player with Miami. He wasn't.
He was a good piece.
He wasn't
but-
scoring 20 a night. That's what I mean by subpar. Like he's
Oh,
a
he
guy.
was averaging about 18 a night.
Yeah,
And
over
in the
shorts.
playoffs, he
over
really
a
turned it
stretch.
on.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't average that for the season. That's what I mean.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I'm
but
talking
when
about
he
a-
went into
okay.
the starting lineup, he did.
Yeah, in short bursts. Yeah, sure. I'm talking.
And at least a half a year. I would call it a little more than a short burst. But the whole thing is with a trade like this, because he did well in Miami doesn't mean that was necessarily a good fit in LA.
Right.
In fact, he didn't fit.
No, he didn't fit there at all. And
I
You know-
mean, he was injured all of last year, which didn't help.
well, now if you play this out a little bit, you look at this Laker roster, and you have, when healthy, LeBron, AD, Westbrook off the bench, right? You have probably Thomas Bryant starting alongside Davis.
You know,
I'm a-
Troy Brown off the bench now with
Yep.
Hachimura coming.
I would assume my starting lineup with everyone healthy would be LeBron at the 1, Reeves at the 2, Hachimura at the 3, Davis at the 4, and Bryant at the 5, with Brown, Walker, and Westbrook off the bench.
And Max Christie, too, who's been getting a little more time with people out. And
I probably,
he deserves to be in the rotation.
yeah, I mean, I guess Beverly's still there. I would probably look to acquire one more like backup big, like a third rotational big. But that's a pretty good 8-9 man rotation right there.
It is. It really
if
is.
everyone's
Just to
healthy.
do the Spurs want picks for Jakob Poeltl. Do they give up one of those ones for him?
No, I'm not doing that. Yeah, I mean, those ones.
Give me another big man that's available.
Well, those ones have been linked to people like Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, and
And that ain't happening.
well, my point is that's fine if it doesn't happen. I'm keeping those ones before I'm trading them for someone like Poeltl. If that was even a possibility to convert those to guys like that, if that was even on the table, I'm not trading them for Jakob Poeltl if I could potentially get something like that later down the line, even if it's next year. I'm just not
Right.
doing it.
Do you give some future considerations up for Nerlens Noel, who Detroit's looking to?
Maybe second rounders,
Yeah, he's a backup big.
Yeah, second
Oh,
rounders. yeah,
no,
sure.
no first.
Yeah, no.
I'm
yeah.
just saying like
Oh
anything.
yeah, no. If I could get Noel or Poeltl for seconds, and a guy that doesn't fit, let's say a Beverly or someone else that doesn't fit in the rotation now, sure, that's fine. But ultimately, I'm not concerned about trading. I'm not trading my first round picks for backup centers. They're
Right.
third rotational centers. I'm not doing that. I mean, I
Right.
would even go on the scrap heap because I do think it's a need, but I would even go on the scrap heap. I would call up DeMarcus Cousins or Dwight Howard before I would touch trading a first round pick for a third string center, a third big. There's no way I'm doing that. Not a chance.
I would actually look at DeMarcus Cousins.
Yes.
I really would.
And so Austin's telling me that the Pacers aren't helping the Lakers. Bleepity bleep them bums. Okay, well, you know what? Why don't the Pacers help themselves first? Why have they lost 8 in a row? I think they got bigger problems than worrying about helping the Lakers. Why don't they try to win a game again without Halliburton? Let's see about that. What, they lost 8 in a row now? Did they win last night or no? They lost last night, didn't they?
They did.
Or they didn't
they
play
won.
last night? They had lost 7 in a row. I don't know if it's up to 8 or if it's still 7.
Let me look here. I don't think
They might not have played yesterday.
they play tonight. They play the
Right.
Bulls
They,
tonight.
they bring that 7-game losing streak into tonight's game. Yeah. Okay. That's what it is.
And yeah, they did not play yesterday.
Yeah.
They-
Okay. So they're on
played
a
tonight.
7-game skid. So yeah, why don't they win a game first? before they worry about who they're helping or not helping, because they need to help themselves. Chicago, meanwhile, they're playing a little bit better again.
They are.
I think they win tonight too. This Indiana team without Halliburton looks lost. They really do. They look lost and confused and completely incapable without him.
One of the best young players in the game. It's kind of hard to just throw anyone else out there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not blaming them necessarily. I mean, you don't lose guys like that and survive. I mean, that's
Yeah.
I get it. Unless you're a deep, highly competitive team. But that they're not. And yeah, no, that's their guy. I get it. It would be like the Sixers losing Embiid right now. They couldn't survive that.
No.
Or Denver losing Jokic. It wouldn't work. By the way, for what it's worth, happy belated birthday, 60th birthday to Hakeem Olajuwon. And I was reminded of that because he was asked recently to give his preference between Embiid and Jokic, and he sides with Jokic because he believes Jokic uses his fakes better than Embiid does. He says Embiid has all the moves, but his deployment of them isn't as good as Jokic's. I thought it was a fairly nuanced
Interesting.
breakdown.
Quite interesting.
I think so. So anyway, happy belated to Hakeem Olajuwon. Hard to imagine he's 60 years old.
I know.
Isn't that something?
I know. It feels like yesterday when I was watching him at U of H.
Amazing.
With Drexler and Benny Anders and all those guys.
And now he's 60 years old.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right, let's take
Which means Drexler's probably around the same age.
The same age, yep. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll do the question of the day. We'll do some more NBA on the way out this hour. Second hour, we have top 5 news you can use. We got hockey, some stories from the world of sports business.
I have some juicy trade stuff for you too when we come back after the question.
Juicy fruit. All right, let's do it. So there we have it. Back after this, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All righty, and it's time for the radio question of the day.
Within a decade, female sports are going to look very different. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
Hey travelers, do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
That's 855-325-1820.
Biological men will soon dominate every female sport, so claims Breitbart's John Nolte, who contends that if athletes like UPenn swimmer Lee.
And we already did this one. Come on. Question of the day. What are you doing to me?
I think the audience knows where we stand on this.
Yeah, that we already did this one just a couple days ago. So I don't know why they put that one in again.
They kind of did it a little differently, though. It's the same question, but just rephrased, I think.
Perhaps. I'm going to see if we can get something else. But what in the meantime, what was your juicy trade information?
There's a lot of stuff out there that I've heard. I've heard the list of teams interested in Cam Reddish for the Knicks is up to 5.
Okay.
There have been a lot of calls made to the Jazz about Mike Conley. Right now, they're 25 and 25, so they're not that anxious to do anything. I don't think it would hurt them to.
Yeah, I mean, how important is he to this team right now? He's not that big of a piece for them.
Right.
He could be helpful to, teams that are contending right now that maybe need some guard depth. Like I'll give you an example. If I was Denver, I would call him up. They got good guards, but they're shallow. They don't have a lot of depth there. They're one Murray injury away from having like a real problem in the backcourt.
Yeah, Conley wouldn't be a replacement for Murray, though. I'd probably rather go with Bones Highland, who's already there.
Yeah, I'd rather
if you had to replace Murray.
Yeah,
Conley's a point. He's not going to make his own offense.
No, but you need another guard in that rotation if either of those guys gets hurt. That's my point. And I mean, Conley can still get to the basket pretty decently. I would want to add Conley if I was Denver, or maybe a team like I don't know, Memphis could bring him back, as sort of like a veteran leader. He always identified with that team. They don't they're a pretty deep team right now, but if he wanted to take a reduced role to be on a title contender.
Yeah, can he make free throws?
Yeah. Just stand here, practice these all day.
Hey, speaking of Memphis.
Yes.
Did they even show up last night?
That I think they.
Oh my God. 133 to 100?
What a beatdown. Yeah, I don't know that they knew the game was on.
Sacramento is averaging over 120 points a game.
And every time I look at a box score from theirs, Sabonis has something like 17, 14, and 12.
Yeah, he got another triple double last night.
Yep. Every time I look at a box score of theirs, I seem to see that. They got balanced scoring last night. They're so scary offensively. I mean, that is a team. I tell you what, I think they're not a title contender this year, but I'll tell you what, if I am a title contender, that is probably my last choice of a first-round opponent in the Western Conference.
I was just going to say, do you want to see them in the first round?
No, not if I can help it. I'd much rather play the Clippers, the Lakers.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at it. Well, they don't play a lot of defense, but if you score 120 and give up 116, you're winning by 4 points.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, if you score 120, you don't need to play that much defense.
Yeah, I mean, you need to play just enough.
Just don't be San Antonio giving up 121.
Yeah, and only scoring about 111.
Right.
Another name out there, Bojan Bogdanovic out of Detroit.
They need to move him. That poor guy.
The Pistons aren't looking to move him, but a lot of teams are calling.
Yep.
And I already said the Spurs want picks for Jakob Poeltl. You may get a number one from somebody desperate. You're not going to get multiple.
No.
If you want picks, take multiple twos.
Well, how old is Bogdanovich? Is he 30 yet?
About 30.
Yeah, he's right around there.
Yeah.
Because that's a guy.
He's a shooter. I mean, he's got time left.
Yeah, right. That's a guy I would trade first-round picks for.
Yeah.
If I'm a contending team.
Right. You're not trading so he can do any chase down blocks. You're trading for him so he can score.
Right, exactly.
Oh, what a sixth man that would be too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, sixth man, a stretch.
He could score, he could pass.
Yep, absolutely.
Stretch the floor.
Absolutely.
The Raptors made Gary Trent Jr. available. Here's a guy who can play multiple positions. He could be a 2 or a small 3. He's 6'7". He's pretty good defensively. He can shoot. And Raptors just have too many guys around that size.
No, that's true.
That's someone I would absolutely go after.
Another guy to call would be, depending what Portland does the rest of the year, call up Portland about Grant or even Nurkic. I mean, they don't use him.
I don't understand. I really don't.
They really don't use him. I mean, if I'm a team like,
he's averaging 14 and 10, and he's an afterthought.
Yeah, if I'm Brooklyn, that's a piece that would fit my team pretty well if I could get him.
Yeah.
That would really help them a lot. I think another team that could use a big is Denver. Because he would complement Jokic. I mean, because Jokic plays in space. I mean, I know he's they're both centers, quote unquote, but Jokic plays in space and is not really a rim protector. He is a rebounder, but he's not really a rim protector. Nurkic can kind of take some of that muscle work off of him.
Right. And Nurkic is great inside.
Yep. So, I mean, those are two teams off the top of my head that I think could really benefit from him. There's others, I'm sure, but Brooklyn in particular, I think he would really be a good piece for them.
I do too.
But yeah, he would
be a very good piece.
Another team he'd be a good piece for? They'd be really good for Portland. They just have to remember these on the roster.
Oh yeah.
He's like, this guy's here, right? Like
what a waste.
What a dig. I know.
What a waste.
Oh man. All right. Well, we got a new question loaded up here. So let's go ahead and knock that out real quick. Here's the question of the day.
The Iowa Hawkeyes are doing right by their fans in 2023. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer. And again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-648-9175. That's 800-648-9175.
The Hawkeyes are knocking back the price of entry for football fans who purchase 2023 season tickets. Iowa's athletic department announced that ticket packs for their fall home games will range from $335 to $425. That is a difference of about $10 to $25 per season ticket. The Hawkeyes athletic director Gary Barta said, "While it seems like the cost of everything is increasing, we wanted to not only hold our prices steady, but reduce them slightly to recognize the support of the greatest fans in America." Question: How much of a price reduction would you need to see at the ticket office before buying season tickets? $10, $20, or $50 or more?
I mean, I think that it really depends on what the starting point is and which team we're talking about. I mean, if we're talking specifically those numbers, none of those numbers sounded all that bad to me. A few
Same.
$100s for season tickets to like a pretty quality program sounds good to me. Like I know the nearest team of significance, pro team of significance to me is the Hudson Valley Renegades over across the river in Dutchess County. They're the single A affiliate of the Yankees. I think their season tickets start around $1,000 or so for 70 games. That's,
Not bad.
that's like $30 a game or so. It's pretty reasonable.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think minor league sports and what I would call mid-major to low major. I would call the Iowa Hawkeyes a low major football team. I know that's not a technical term, but you know what I mean. They're not mid-major, but they're not like Alabama either. They're somewhere on the low end of the major scale. I think those two, that low end of the major college scale and the minor leagues of baseball and hockey, which are the two sports with significant minor league presence, although the G League's getting there. I think those are the best values in sports. I think generally speaking, the price point at those type of places is already very competitive, and I wouldn't really be nickel and diming it too much. I don't think there's a real need to. This question, if it's framed around, major professional sports, particularly in larger markets, that's a different story. I mean, because like the thing is, like, usually, especially with baseball, definitely with baseball, maybe not so much the other sports, but definitely with baseball, it's not really the ticket prices that's the problem. It's everything else. It's getting there. It's eating. It's parking if you drive. Like that's the stuff that adds up. I mean, you can get into Yankee Stadium for like $20 or less if you're going in like, the upper decks. But that's not the problem. The problem is if you take the train, it costs you $30 round trip. Now you're at 50. Or if you park, it costs you probably $60, $70 between gas and parking. Now you're at 80. Then you spend $100 eating because $17 for a hot dog and $15 for a beer or something like that. Now you're at like 120, and that's just for one person. Double or triple or quadruple that, depending how many people you're going with. If you're taking a family, it's very easy to spend between $500 and $700 for a family of four to go to a Yankee game. That's where so it's not really the tickets, because when you look at the tickets, you say, okay, I bought 4 tickets for $80. Well, that's not too bad. It's everything else. So the tickets represent maybe somewhere between 10 and 20% of what you're going to spend when you go to an event like that. But with minor league sports, taking the same equation, generally minor league sports or collegiate sports are events that are very close by to a majority of the people in attendance. So like if you're going to a minor league baseball game, for example, there's an excellent chance you live within 30 minutes or less of the arena or the stadium, so that the transit costs are negligible in most cases. Then parking, I know at Dutchess Stadium is like $5. So now I've spent 15 on a ticket, 5 on parking, and we'll call it 7 on gas and whatever. So now I'm at 20 and I'm parked, I'm in the building, and I've gotten there and back. And now I spent another $30 or so on food. I had a nice night out for $50. It's a monumental difference.
And not only is the price difference great with minor league sports, and I go to a lot of minor league games.
Yep.
Despite what some people say.
The atmosphere is awesome.
It's a completely different atmosphere. Yep. You're usually closer to the action than you are in a major league park.
Yep.
And they have more going on and more giveaways.
Yes.
Major league teams don't have to, and in any sport.
Right.
Don't have to do as much as far as giveaways unless you're very poorly attended. Unless you're a very poorly attended team, then they do tend to do more. I mean, the Pirates give away a lot.
Well,
The Yankees don't.
Right. Exactly.
Minor league teams do because it's a way to try to get people in. And they're very, very much engaged in any sport. They're very engaged with fans. I like that.
Oh no, minor league sports are the best value, in my opinion, in all of entertainment. Whether you're talking music, movies, sports. I mean, the only things that kind of equate them in terms of value, bang for your buck, are probably community theaters and like well well organized and executed fairs, because often they get either name acts or top level cover bands of name acts, and it produces a very quality live music experience for the price of admission, which is generally around $10.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Plus whatever you're going to spend there with the vendors and stuff. But like, you know,
And that's the case everywhere, too.
right, exactly. That's not really
Because
geographically
there are
dependent.
tours built around that.
Exactly. Yep. So to me, those are the three best values in entertainment: is community theaters, fairs, county fairs that are well, because those are not created equal. There's a huge variance in the quality of acts that those fairs get. Some are really well run, some are not. But the ones that are well run, you get really good stuff for a great price, because there's not a huge variance in price. Like, it's probably going to cost you $10 or so to enter a fair, regardless of where you go to it in the country. They really don't change much. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what makes it a great value. And then minor league sports. Minor league sports is a tremendous value. Minor league baseball that's why I was so mad at Manfred for so radically scaling it down, because those type of organizations, while they might be a slight financial burden to Major League Baseball, are an absolute haven for entertainment for the communities they serve. They really are.
Oh, yeah. And those single A teams are more for smaller communities.
Well, that's right.
And it hurts economically.
Oh, it does. And
as
it
well
hurts
when you cut them down. Plus, if you've been to the new Yankee Stadium.
Oh, yeah. It's duller than anything.
God.
I feel like I'm going to a corporate convention.
It's not even the fact that it's dull. It's the food.
Well, yeah.
It's the prices.
You could spend a fortune on food.
You need to take out a second mortgage to get a hot dog and a beer. It's ridiculous. And stop this. Unless you're in San Francisco, no sushi at baseball games. Please stop. Just stop.
Yeah, I'm in New York, man. I'm getting beer, burgers, and dogs. That's what we got.
I want a beer and a water dog.
That's right. Exactly. Sushi crap. Get this shit out of here. I love it. There was a funny meme I saw that I shared. It was a picture of a steak, and it said, "My mouth waters when I smell steak cooking. I wonder if vegans do the same when they're mowing their lawn." So that's what I feel like when I watch people eating sushi. I remember there was one time in college, I think it was Tuesdays. We had a hot dog day during lunch at the mesh hall, and there were two types of hot dogs. But really, there was one type of hot dog, because there was Nathan's, and then the other type really shouldn't matter, but it happened to be Hoffman. And it was like the wrong answer to say, "I'll take a Hoffman." Like, you only ate a Hoffman if, like, you got there late, they were out of Nathan's, and you didn't want anything else. Like, that was the correct way to eat those hot dogs. Well, so I'm in line one day, and the guy in front of me, it's like first thing, so there's plenty of both. "I'll take a Hoffman." I looked at him, I'm like, "Man, your taste buds are broken." They cost the same. They're just coming out of your meal plan.
Scott would disagree with you.
I know he would. Scott loves his Hoffmans. Well, Scott, Scott's taste buds, he's down in West Virginia, so I don't know. We have to have a talk. We have to have a talk with Scott's taste buds. I know it's like a Western New York thing, but still.
He used to like going to Syracuse Chiefs games too. AAA baseball is interesting, although it's kind of lost its luster for me this year with the robo-umps.
Yeah, I hate robo-umps. We're getting a lot of chat here on this. Dylan saying Indianapolis Indians games are really fun. Tried to make a joke about porn star not giving away giveaways. That's pretty edgy, but pretty funny. Can't lie. I like it. And Scott
Yeah,
saying,
and he also took a shot on me in the rest home. Yeah, listen, pal, I'm old, but I'm pretty damn feisty. Watch
that's
yourself.
Right. That's right.
All in fun.
That's right. Watching deers mate than go to a minor league baseball game. You know what? I might rather watch that too, just because I have had the
I think you guys go somewhere else with your deer porn. Keep it away from me, okay? I don't need any.
We'll go to the trusty woods for that. All right. That's where else are you gonna go for deer porn? You know, here's the thing. I don't know that I should say pleasure. Probably sounds wrong. I had the experience. That's the word we'll go with. I had the experience one time of going to Six Flags and happened to be walking by this like small enclosure and and I watched and heard two tortoises go at it mating. That was an experience. Yeah, I'll take minor league baseball. Thank you very much. If deer is anything like that, yeah, just give me the baseball.
Did they do it slowly?
Yes. Slow and sensual for you.
You stayed around that long to watch that. So.
Well, it was just like, what the heck is this? I was intrigued. It was novel. What can I tell you? I mean, it's not every day you watch two tortoises go at it like that, Very interesting stuff.
We didn't just get off the rails.
No.
We lost direction completely. I think we need a break.
We took the rails down. We had to rebuild them over the break.
We're pulling them out by the spikes.
That's right. Absolutely. Somewhere along the line, we really lost our way here. We'll try to regroup in hour 2 with the top 5 coming around the corner. Back after this, it's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. No more spikes. No more rails. Just commercials. Back after this. All righty, welcome back to the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. Hour 2, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. Some more juicy NBA rumor mill stuff kicking up, which we will get to in about 20 minutes. But right now, top of the hour can only mean one thing. Time for the top 5.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for King Talk Radio's Top 5.
All righty, there we go. Thank you, Jack George. What do we got today, Rich?
This is going to be a 2-part question. You're going to tackle half today and half tomorrow.
Okay. What do we got?
Getting close to the NBA trade deadline. Of course, we're going to have buyers and sellers.
Yes.
Give me the top 5 buyers at the trade deadline this year and what they need.
Buyers.
Yep.
Lakers. I'm just going to rattle off some teams first.
Which means you can figure out tomorrow what the other one's going to be.
Yes, I think so. I'm just going to rattle off some teams, and then I'll try to fill in the gaps. Lakers. I'm going to say I don't think they're quite ready to give up on this team just yet. I'm going to say Miami's a buyer. They could really go either way or be kind of paralyzed by indecision and do nothing. But I'm going to put Miami in here as a buyer. Philly should be a buyer. Dallas definitely should be a buyer. Denver. I'd say probably Brooklyn. If they found the right deal, perhaps Milwaukee. But I think their issue is just more about health. Maybe Sacramento might want to consider adding a veteran piece to their young nucleus. But I think that's a pretty good list. I don't know about Golden State. Again, I think they're probably just about health. Maybe the Knicks could potentially be a buyer. They might be a buyer and seller at the same time, more like an exchanger. Yeah, I'll take your misfit and you take mine.
Yeah.
If you move on from Cam Reddish, he's kind of a misfit piece there. And you bring in something else that maybe is a misfit piece elsewhere. I don't know if you call that a buyer or a seller. It's more of a trader. But yeah, I think the teams I'm going to go with and then really dive into are the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Heat, the Sixers, and the Nets. I think I'm going to go with those 5 teams as the teams I'm going to spend some time on. I think first and foremost, top of that list needs to be the Lakers. I do think they need one more difference-making piece and a rotational big, like I said earlier. The rotational big can be something off the scrap heap. It's a third big. It's kind of insurance over a Davis injury and or just foul trouble for one of them. I'm calling up DeMarcus Cousins, Dwight Howard, any guy like that. I'm really realistically only playing this guy probably 12 minutes a night. And if someone gets hurt, he has to be capable of stepping in and playing, closer to 25. But really,
and that wouldn't even have to be a trade, which would be nice.
That's what I mean. That's a scrap heap. The piece that I'm talking about would be a trade. If I'm them, the guys I'm targeting, Bogdanovich in Detroit. I know they have a kind of a wet dream of Bradley Beal. I don't think that's happening. I would be looking at Jay Crowder in Phoenix if I was the Lakers. Actually, most of these teams, I would be looking at Crowder. If I can get him at a price. Phoenix seems to think Jay Crowder is more like, Michael J. Jordan. It's like, no, he's Jay Crowder. Like come on. What are we asking for here? Why is this crazy? Now
that's a mystery to me why he hasn't moved yet. Well, I don't know what they're doing.
It makes no sense. All right, so buyers. Lakers, that's one. I would be after a big on the free agent market and a difference-making offensive piece, ideally someone who's like a wing type, wing or a 2 guard. That would be kind of what I would be looking for if I was the Lakers. Now, let's move over to the Nets.
Well, they just got one.
Well, yeah, they got a kind of a D&3 guy. I'm talking about a bona fide scorer, like a shooter scorer type. Like, basically I'm thinking Bogdanovich. That's the guy. If I was the Lakers, he's the name I would have circled on my calendar, because that's a guy I would move those draft picks for, or at least one of them at the very minimum. Push came to shove, I'd probably do 2, because that guy's good. I know he's not the sexiest name in the world, but that guy is a straight baller, and he'll be good for a long time because of his skill set. I would be happy to have Bojan Bogdanović. He's an excellent, excellent player. Let's see. Nets. Definitely in the market for some type of shooting help and or a nice versatile big. This is where I would call up Portland and look for Nurkic's availability. Like I said earlier, Portland doesn't use them. They're probably teetering between trying to be delusional and kind of doing a rebuild around Lillard and Simons. I would absolutely, if I'm Brooklyn, that would be my biggest call. I'm calling up Portland. What do we need to give up to get Nurkic? That's the guy I'm calling about if I'm Brooklyn. If I'm Miami, I need some offense if I'm anywhere. I don't care the position. I'm looking for the most inexpensive, viable scorer I can find. Like if a guy like I call up Charlotte, if someone like Terry Rozier is available, a guy like that helps Miami. Now he's got a lot of flaws as a player, but that guy can put up points. Another guy I would be calling about if
they have a guy like that though, don't they?
Well, not really. I mean, not enough of them. They average 108 points a game. They don't got enough offense.
True.
I'm looking for points. I don't really care where it comes from or what style of player here. Like, to me, at this point, you just need guys who can put balls in baskets if you're Miami.
Okay.
And you figure out the fit in the rotation later. They just can't score on a consistent basis. So someone like Terry Rozier, I would also be calling about Bogdanovich if I was Miami. I would call up Portland about Jeremy Grant. These are the type of guys I would be calling around for, guys who I know can score. Let's see. That's Miami. I did Brooklyn. I did the Lakers. Let's go to Denver. Denver needs, to me, a little front court help, a little muscle, and maybe another guard for depth. So a couple guys I'd be calling about. I'm intrigued by Mike Conley as a third guard if I'm Denver, because I'm looking for veterans if I'm them, because I think I have a championship window right now. So I'm not looking for projects or young guys. Looking for veterans. I also would be calling Portland about Nurkic if I was Denver. And, I don't know that they'll move him because he's got such a great contract and he's so productive. But I'm at least calling New Orleans about Valanciunas. It's not going to happen most likely, but I want to find out. I would trade for Miles Turner if I was Denver, if I can get him at a reasonable price. Him and Buddy, that package that was talked about all year for the Lakers, Buddy Hield and Turner. If Indiana's looking to maybe rekindle that, if I'm Denver, I would absolutely move some draft picks and or some rotational pieces. For example, maybe a team like Indiana might be interested in Bruce Brown to add some defense to their team. John Collins is an interesting one. Dylan brings up in the chat from Atlanta. He might fit Miami as an option for just a guy who can score. But if I'm Denver, I think that combination of Hield and Turner would really entice me if I could make that deal work with Indiana. That would be my biggest play. And the fifth team on my list, as for a buyer, is the did I say the Knicks as my fifth team? I think I did. I think they need like a nice two guard, a good solid shooting guard, I think would help them a lot. Someone like a Malcolm Brogdon or a Chris Duarte or someone of that nature.
You think Indiana gives up Duarte?
Probably not. No. Collins might be a fit out of Atlanta if they want to do something a little bit bigger.
I'm amazed Collins is still in Atlanta.
I am too.
They've been talking about trading him for 3 years, and he's not a fit there.
No, he's not. Another guy that could be an interesting acquisition for someone. He's not an older player, but he's sort of a mature player. What about he's just wasting away in Orlando? What about someone like the guard from Gonzaga, Jalen Suggs? He's just wasting away there, and he'd be a good piece on a better team.
I wonder if you don't win a starting job in Orlando, I would like to know what the problem is.
Why? Yeah, that's fair.
Why can't you get 30 minutes a night in Orlando?
No, that's fair.
I don't mean you personally. You probably could get 30 minutes a night in
Orlando.
Yeah. But yeah,
about 30 seconds, but okay.
If you're not playing there,
why not? Well, my Orlando also has a girth of like 4s and 5s. That could be a team that if I'm Denver or Brooklyn, I'm calling up too. Because whether you're talking about Bamba or who's that big white guy they got, Vucevic or whoever, like they got like 2 or 3 of those guys. They got Wagner, they got Bamba, they got all these guys. They got obviously
both
Banchero.
Wagners, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Now Jonathan
Banchero's
Isaac is back.
there.
Yep, Isaac is back now. One of those guys, probably 2 of them are expendable.
I think Isaac would bring a lot more in return once he's played about 3 weeks.
Yep.
And everyone sees that he's all right because he missed a couple of years.
Yeah, he did. Yep.
And he won't get as much now. You got to see if he's healthy.
I also think
I think they could get something.
I also think Bamba could be a good piece for Denver because he might just be able to do exactly what they need. Some weak side shot blocking, little rebounding. That's all they really need from a center if they're Denver. They don't really need a lot else. Dallas is an interesting one. I agree. They need some help. So that could be an interesting team as a buyer. I think I actually mentioned them. That would be another team. That's another one. I want points wherever I can get it from. Bogdanovich, Grant, Collins, Terry Rozier. If I'm Dallas, I just need someone else who can take some scoring load off of Luka. They didn't replace Jalen Brunson's productivity. Dinwiddie and Hardaway have not been able to absorb it effectively on a consistent basis. They've done some of it, but they need a little bit more help on offense. So yeah, Dallas is another one. So ranking them in order: Lakers, one more difference maker scorer; Nets, some shooting and or some front court help, preferably from the wing, the shooting. As far as the Mavericks, offense from anywhere. Miami, same thing, offense from anywhere. Denver, defensive big, maybe some guard depth. And as a bonus, 6th team on the list, the Knicks. I think they could use just a little bit more in the way of versatility from the 2-guard spot. They get a little small in the backcourt sometimes. A good solid 6'6", like journeyman type of 2-guard, I think would help them a lot. I mean, like someone like Cam Reddish, but hey,
Right.
So there you have it.
Yeah, Cam Reddish is, he's like a prisoner.
Yes, he is.
We're not going to let you out.
Nope.
You have to stay.
You're stuck.
But we're not even going to let you cut potatoes in the kitchen.
That's right.
It's ridiculous how it's come down to that for him. He's a very useful player.
He is a useful player. He really is. So there you go. Well, that's the top 5. And maybe as a teaser toward tomorrow's top 5, when we do the sellers, Phoenix, perhaps a seller looking at their future without Chris Paul. This according to Mark Stein. We'll break that down on the other side of the break. Back after this.
Well, if you notice, since he's been back, if they do that now, I think the future is kind of bleak.
We'll break it down on the other side of this break. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens, and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
So Phoenix considering moving on from Chris Paul, pondering their future without him. And the names that we're hearing on this list, Emmanuel Quickly, Terry Rozier, among a few others, are rumored targets if Phoenix were to go this route. I'll tell you what, New York would eat up having Chris Paul publicly. It would be a big back page win. I think it would be an on-court disaster. I really do.
I do too.
It would be
It
would be like a great news story. Everyone would be like talking about point guard and blah, 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 because that's how New Yorkers are. It's like none of them ever bother to realize that in the whole history of the NBA, almost 80 years worth at this point, there's been exactly one dynastic team whose best player was a point guard, and even that's debatable, that being Magic Johnson. And, oh, he was 6'9", so he's sort of an exception to the rule. And you don't even know that he was their best player because for at least half his career, Kareem was. So the other teams that have won multiple titles with a point guard as their best player, the Detroit Pistons, undoubtedly, Isaiah Thomas, 2 titles.
Yeah.
Curry's not really a point guard. They kind of have 2 shooting guards in that team. Like, really, their point guard is Draymond Green.
Right.
That's kind of the whole list. I mean, Walt Frazier, you could argue, was the best player on the Knicks, but you could also argue Willis Reed was the best player on the Knicks. It's a very short and indistinguished list of teams whose best player was a point guard. Now, Chris Paul at this stage of his career would not be their best player. Julius Randle still would be.
Right.
And probably Jalen Brunson would be their second best player, which is why it's not a great fit, because you really can't play Paul and Brunson together, not defensively. You just can't. And
people throw it together like it's fantasy, though, man. They look at the names and go, oh, yeah, look at him. We need that. No, you don't.
Yeah, that might have been good 6 years ago, or even 4 years ago, or even 3. Before you had Brunson, if you were telling me they didn't sign, let's say they didn't sign Jalen Brunson in the offseason, and they had, I don't know, just some guy as point guard. Let's say they had like someone like the equivalent of like George Hill or someone like that. Okay, fine. You want to say Chris Paul makes the team better? I'll buy that. He would. But they have Jalen Brunson, who's playing like a beast. And I don't need Chris Paul. So, if I'm going to trade you quickly, I'll tell you what, I'll take Paul's contract and probably waive him, or repackage him somewhere. I want Bridges, or I want, I want Ayton. They're not going to do that. But like,
Right.
if I'm going to bail you out of Chris Paul's contract, which is that's what I'd be doing, I want a piece I could really actually use if I'm the Knicks. I want, at the very minimum, I want Cam Johnson. At the very minimum.
I don't even know if they'd give that up.
They probably wouldn't, which is why I don't think that's a good trade for either team. And the pieces that they would both want. Paul doesn't help the Knicks, and nothing that helps the Knicks would be desirable for Phoenix to give up in the trade. So I don't think that those two teams can play ball. Now, you talk about Terry Rozier, that's a different story. Melo Ball is big enough to play off ball. They could play together in the backcourt and have two ball handlers. That you could make work. It would take some doing, but it's doable. And they might just benefit from some veteran leadership. And of course, there's the storyline of Chris Paul going back to where it all began. Like, that makes a little sense. Maybe someone like Terry Rozier gives them a little shot in the arm because Terry's nothing if not energy. That makes a little more sense. Is Terry Rozier enough to get back for Chris Paul? Maybe, given what you're asking him to take on in terms of a contract. He's got a couple of years left on a big deal, so it might be.
Yeah.
That makes more sense than the New York deal to me. Even though I would rather Quigley in a vacuum if I'm Phoenix. I'd much rather Quigley than Rozier, but I just don't think the pieces work unless you do like some kind of 3-team trade.
Right. And that just gets
It gets messy.
Dylan has something interesting. Chris Paul to the Mavs.
Okay. Maybe. Do I really want to take Luka off the ball? I don't know.
He says just to be a facilitator.
Right. Luka's the best passer in the NBA, though. Like, I don't think that's really their problem. I think they need a scorer, someone else to put points on the board. I mean, I guess you could, if you want to make the argument that Luka would score more points by having less playmaking and ball handling duties, playing off the ball, maybe. But I haven't seen that. And what does Phoenix want back for Paul? What's on that roster that A, makes money work, and B, makes it sensible? Like, are you training Dinwiddie for Paul?
See, this is the question. This is the first I've heard of this.
Hardaway, perhaps? That might make money work, and that might fit Phoenix a little bit. He has not been.
See, I don't want to do that. I don't think, as it is, I don't think there's enough help there for
Luka?
For Luka as it is, thank you.
Well, then you add Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul is not a nothing scorer either. Obviously, he's going to score his 17th game.
Right. But if you're giving up Hardaway, you're losing too.
Well, Philly, that's an interesting one. Chris Paul for Tobias Harris. Now, that makes some sense, although I'm sure James Harden wouldn't be thrilled about that. They've been down this road together before. Together again. And it's the city of brotherly love this time. Brotherly love this time. Let's go. City of brotherly love. Reunion. Happy reunion. James Harden's going to start eating again and show up like in his whale costume like he did in Houston.
But the only person that would be good for is Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that for him. Get them out of the hell that is Doc Rivers.
Yes, I agree.
And let him be productive again.
The point in this exercise is
make Tobias Harris productive again.
Yes, that's right. The point of this exercise is to illustrate moving Chris Paul is not going to be an easy task.
Well, not only is the contract big, but how many teams help themselves if they give something else up?
One team I could see being helped by this a lot, because part of their problem with scoring is lack of facilitation and shot creating. I actually think Chris Paul would help Miami a lot. I think he really would. They have no playmakers on that team at all. Their only real playmaker is Butler, and that's like his third skill. That's not really his forte, but he can do it, but no one else really can.
And there's no there's not enough left in Kyle Lowry to even put him in that.
I mean, you might have to do that to make money work, and then they waive him, and maybe you package Lowry with Duncan Robinson as the piece that Phoenix wants. He's a good young shooter with some size, could fit their, kind of mold right now. That might be the best trade I've come up with. If you make the money work that way, that might be the best trade to come up with in terms of something going back to Phoenix that would be useful to them, and a real fit for Paul on the other end. I think he helps Miami a lot, actually. That's probably the best one I've come up with.
That might be because, like I was saying, I don't think Lowry's the playmaker anymore that he was.
No, I mean, he might help a team off the bench in limited minutes. Like, he'd be a guy that if he became available, let's say this trade went down and Phoenix did waive him, that would be a guy, if I was Denver, I would call up and try to sign as that, depth guard I was talking about a few minutes ago. He can still be effective in that role because he could play either guard position in limited minutes. Lowry can.
Yeah. True. And he brings a toughness that doesn't hurt to have.
Exactly. So that's
as long as you're not counting on him for like 28 minutes a night.
Yeah,
he's a good fit.
15 to 20 minutes a night. He can do that.
That would be the guard too that they would need. Yeah,
it would help them a lot.
You talked about earlier. That's
absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
Get this. You're solving all the problems.
I'm telling you, man. I'm underpaid. I need a raise.
This is great.
I need a raise.
Oh, yeah. I just figured this is why you make the big bucks.
Oh yeah. That's a quarter. Oh, we got two of them. I can get.
Man,
I can get a couple of gumballs that have been in the vending machine for 5 years.
That's 2 Aldi shopping carts.
Yeah, or 2 5-year-old gumballs.
Yes.
Yeah. They break the rest of my teeth that I still have left. I never understood why people ate those. Like the fact that those machines were so ambiguous for so many decades always made me question humanity, because I tried those things like twice, and like not only are they a big time choking hazard, but ouch, do they hurt to get open. Like, just
I don't get it.
Just buy real gum. Like why are we tempting choking and cracking my teeth over stale gum that doesn't have good flavor to begin with? Humans make some interesting life choices. We really do.
Yes, they do.
All right, let's take a quick break. Oh, wait, hold on. Before we do that, CP3 to the Clippers for one last shot at the title, running with Paul George this time. So what are they giving back? What are they giving back in this trade, Dylan? What are they moving to Phoenix? So you're saying CP3, Powell, Kawhi, PG, and Zubac. Okay, fine. Who are they trading back? Is it Reggie Jackson? Who are they moving back that Phoenix is going to want? That's the question. I mean, I don't think that's the worst deal in the world. I think the Clippers are another team.
It all depends. Am I giving up Terrence Mann? No. Right. Would I give up Reggie Jackson? Yes.
Sure. Yeah. But does that entice Phoenix in any way? Or would Reggie Jackson and a couple of late round picks entice them, like late first round picks? Like, because the Clippers don't need their first rounders right now. They're not in that mode. Like, they traded 1 first rounder and Reggie Jackson for Chris Paul. I think that's okay.
Do they have any first rounders left to trade? I don't think they do, because they owe like 5 of them to
New Orleans. Oh no, to Oklahoma City. I mean,
Oklahoma City. Yeah,
the Paul George trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it fits. I don't think it's a terrible fit. It's just a matter of what am I giving back to Phoenix that the Clippers are willing to surrender and that the Suns would be willing to take for Paul. That's the question. See, that's what the Miami trade works so well. Lowry's contract about matches up money-wise. A guy on the bench.
It's not far off, yeah.
Right. A guy on the
second
bench,
round draft pick and even that out.
Right. And a guy like Duncan Robinson on the bench that Miami's not using would be enticing. Young shooter with size, under control for multiple years, would be enticing to Phoenix. And now they probably would buy Lowry out because he's on the last year of his deal. You probably do buy him out, and Lowry goes signs with a more ready contender like a Denver or maybe a Boston or someone like that. Makes a lot of sense. All the pieces fit.
It does.
So anyway, Mann, Picks, and Kennard. That's a lot of shooting and youth to give up for Chris Paul.
Yeah, it is. I'm not fond of giving up Mann.
Now let me ask you this, Rich. Let's edit Dylan's trade a little bit. Reggie Jackson, Kennard, and a draft pick. Do you do that?
I do Reggie Jackson in a draft pick.
So you're not giving up Kennard or Mann.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
If I really felt Chris Paul could take me there, I would keep Kennard in, but I'm not sure.
Right. That's reasonable. Like if
I'm not sure. How much do you hurt your bench?
Right. Right.
And if you got Paul and George in the backcourt.
Oh no! You took my punt for the day. Oh,
good.
Oh no!
Where does that leave John Wall?
And here's the other question:
who you need because you don't score?
Have you? And here's the other question: have they cloned, preferably multiple times, Dr. James Andrews? Because they're going to need to if they haven't already. Between Wall, Kawhi, Paul George, and Chris Paul, you're going to need to rent out a whole wing in the hospital for half the season every year. That's the biggest concern I have with that roster construction is I can very easily see all of them being out for extended periods of time, all at the same time.
I can too.
That's the biggest concern probably.
And that's a killer because Kawhi looks amazing.
He does. Oh, when he's healthy and out there,
since he's been back, he's looked incredible.
Yeah, he's a beast. So there we go.
Who knows how long that's going to last.
All right. Well, from God, John Wall was still alive. Oh, jeez. I think we all did. Oh, that's funny. All right, let's take a break. And going from the hypothetical to the on the court, we'll break down some of the games from last night, give you a couple to watch for today. We got some hockey and news you can use. Wrapping up the show. About 20 minutes or so left to go. It's the Gary Ayd Show. Back after this here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All righty, we are back. And yeah, let's just say the Grizzlies did not have a good day yesterday. Let's pretend that didn't happen and just kind of move on. 133-100, Ouchtown. Yeah, let's look forward here. What do we got tonight, Rich? We got about 7
let's
games
look
tonight.
back at the great defense played last night in the Milwaukee Bucks Detroit Pistons game.
Oh boy.
And one more quick note of last night before we look forward. Remember when you talked about how Brooklyn could possibly put that big number up against the Spurs? Well,
Yes.
Portland put up 147 against them last night.
Buckets. Lots of buckets.
That's priceless, isn't
Lots,
it?
lots and lots of
Oh,
buckets.
the Spurs and Pistons showing how defense is to be played.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you what. the reason I wanted to look forward is there's actually a lot of games tonight I want to watch. There's only 7, but I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 7 that I definitely want to see at least parts of. Those 4 are Denver at New Orleans. This game would be a lot more sexy if Zion or Ingram were playing. I mean, great if both
Right.
were, but at least one would make it much nicer.
And
Boston,
who knows if Jokic is playing?
right. Boston and Miami is interesting to me.
Boston's interesting. They're coming off a really bad loss.
They are. Yep.
They've lost 13 games all year. Chew on this fact. 2 of them were to Orlando.
What?
That means
I don't like the taste of that.
15% of their losses are to Orlando.
Come on, man.
That's insane. Which means Miami's probably going to pay the price tonight.
Interesting news here, from Chris Haynes, according to Dylan here in the chat. Trailblazers are being the most aggressive, calling a nonstop for John Collins in Atlanta. Oh, I think that's an awful fit in Portland. They already have 2 guys who can't guard anybody and they're too small for their positions. Like, we're going to have a third. So what, are you going to play John Collins at the 3 or the 4?
They got to play him at the 4 because Grant's the 3.
Right. Like,
but the problem is you already have a big you don't feed.
Yep. That's right.
That would be like basketball purgatory if Collins went there.
Yeah, I don't like that fit at all. Portland's a weird team. They always try to build their team very strangely. I really don't understand it. I really don't. If Portland really wanted to improve their team, the way to do it would be to trade one of their guards for appropriate wings or front court.
They
help.
tried that in the CJ McCollum trade, and they got it wrong, as
right.
usual.
Yes, they did get that very wrong. That worked out really well for New Orleans, I'll tell you that. But anyway.
Fred VanVleet's future is in question. He hired a new agent. Does that mean he wants to leave?
I mean,
or does that mean he feels because he turned down what was a pretty good deal?
I mean, isn't he mid-contract? Aren't there some years left on his deal, or is it up after this year?
He's coming up because he does have a contract. I think there's another year, but I know they offered him this year to extend, and he did at a nice raise, and he didn't. So I don't know if he just wants out of Toronto.
So a little clarification here. I misread this. Apparently, because I've not seen the article, but apparently the Blazers are being most aggressive, like trying to make something happen, not necessarily John Collins. And calls are coming in nonstop for John Collins, not necessarily from the Blazers. So there were 2 separate statements. I misread that. So just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, so getting back to VanVleet.
You're not a big John Collins fan either.
I just don't think he's a fit. Like, the only way I like guys like Collins and Rozier is if I just need points. Like, I like Collins in Dallas because they need someone to score. I like Rozier there for the same reason. Like, if I just need offense, like I straight up just don't have enough people on my team that can put the ball in the bucket, Miami comes to mind in that regard too, I'll make room for kind of a positionless scorer. Because that's what both of those guys really are, especially Collins. He's somewhere between a shooting guard and a power forward. He's like really nothing, but he's a great athlete and he can score. So, like, if I'm a team that needs scoring, I'll find a place to run him and try to do my best with him.
He rebounds well too, like on alternate Wednesdays when the sun's out. You know, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, it's like one of the baseball stats. He's the all-time leader in runners on base doubles when the sun is below a certain angle and the temperature is below this, and it's past this time of the year in night games. Oh, great. So
he's a good situational hitter. He's very good in situations when he gets a hit.
That's basically. Right. That's right. Those stats are so funny.
A stat for everything.
Oh, I'm telling you.
What's your take on the Cavs Knicks?
That's one of the other
As
games.
long as we haven't touched on the locals.
Yep, that's another game I'm interested in. I mean, certainly the question about Mitchell playing or not playing looms large in this one. We know Robinson's out. Quigley most likely is out quickly. I still think this is an interesting game. I'm particularly fascinated by the matchup of Randall. Where do the Cavs go? Do they go with the big, stronger Allen, who's less mobile in space, or do they go with the more agile, youthful Mobley to guard Randall and then rely on some maybe backside help if Randall puts his body on him and muscles him around a little bit? That's an interesting matchup to me.
I would probably go with Allen and let Mobley, because you don't have Robinson.
Right.
And I would let Mobley roam.
Kind of roam a little bit. I think
and block shots, which he does so well.
From the weak side. I would probably take the same approach. I agree. And then the other matchup that's interesting in this one is the matchup of Garland and Brunson. I mean, they're two very similar players. They're going to guard each other most likely, particularly if Mitchell's out. I
think Garland's a little better defensively, but
that's a great matchup. So those two matchups,
they're both explosive.
A lot of fun. The other matchup that could be interesting off of the respective benches is, depending what the Knicks do, Toppin and Love could be an interesting matchup too.
Yeah, good.
So interesting.
Each team can use one more guy for depth.
Yep, absolutely. I think the Knicks win this game. They're on a 4-game skid. They're home. I think they circle the wagons tonight, and I think they get a W and get off the schneid. But if Mitchell doesn't play,
this is the best chance.
Yeah, that's what I think. So
if Mitchell plays,
I still think the Knicks have a chance to win the game, even if he does play. But obviously, their chances are better if he doesn't. Last game I want to touch on: Battle of LA. We'll be rooting against each other tonight, Rich.
Yeah, we will.
You got the jersey on and everything right now.
Clippers have owned them in the regular season the last couple of years.
Yep, they sure have.
They're 2-0 against them this year, but those games were early.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different Lakers team now, and unfortunately, a different Clippers team.
Does Rui Hachimura play tonight?
Maybe. Has he taken his physical yet?
Hopefully he didn't go to the same doctor that Carlos Correa went to.
We found something when you had your tonsils out at age 5.
Oh, no, I can't take it. Because actually, all joking aside, he would be a very useful piece against a team like the Clippers to have these big athletic wings.
He would.
He would be really nice to have in the lineup tonight.
Is Ty Lue kind of wearing out his welcome in LA?
It's very possible. I mean, he certainly, if he's not wearing out his welcome, he's certainly not making a big impact. This team seems very just blah a lot.
They do. And I'm wondering how much coaching has to do with that. I get the injuries thing.
Yes.
But they're not the only team in the league that has injuries.
Right. And they're not unhealthy right now. And
right.
In
fact, they're quite healthy right now.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, this is a team. Look, if they're gonna kind of quell these questions that we're sort of asking out loud right now, now's the time to do it. You're healthy. You're a game over 500. The All-Star break's coming up in a few weeks. Go on a nice 7-game winning streak. Let's see something. Get 7, 8 games, 9 games above 500 before the break. Win 7 in a row.
Right.
If you're really a contender, having a 7-game winning streak is not an insane ask. I mean,
and they're going to ride or die with this roster.
That's it. I mean, they've made this bet already. There's no
right. I mean, what can you do? The Paul George trade looks terrible now.
It does.
Giving up 5 number 1s in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
OKC.
That's why they don't have a number 1 to trade.
OKC is laughing all the way to the bank with that one.
Oh yeah. They'll draft 5 more guys that'll leave in 4 years.
Exactly. Every sports league needs its farm team, his professional farm team. It's It's like the Marlins. They're the farm team for baseball. Like, hey, look, that Alcantara guy looks really good for the Yankees in 3 years. or how's this guy in Pittsburgh? He looks great for Boston in 4.
That's how it is.
Like,
That's all how
that's
it is.
what it is.
There's feeder teams everywhere.
That's right.
Okay, I guess we have another break
We
in
got
us.
one more break. We'll do a little NHL wrap up, and then we'll do the news you can use. So we'll get
Oh,
about
we got some good news you can use.
good stuff. We got about 8 minutes or so when we come back. Back after this final break of the show. Wrap it up after this on the Gary Ayd Show here in the cave.
Do you want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on, you watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do, and you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All right. So before we get to the hockey news you can use, real quick bit of trivia here, Rich. And before I do that, did you see the article Dave McMenamin put up on ESPN a couple days ago about all the men who have held the scoring title in NBA history, the all-time scoring title?
Yes.
So you read it?
I saw it. I bookmarked it. I didn't have a chance to.
Okay, good. Then the trivia works. See if you can name them. There's 7 of them. LeBron will be the 8th when he passes Kareem in a couple of games. So see if you can name the 7. I got 6 of them. One's a weird one.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
Well, 2 were obvious, right? I mean, Kareem
and Wilt.
Yeah, right. The others are these are the ones I got. I'll tell you what I got. So the ones I got were Joe Fulks, who was the first one.
He was the first 20-point scorer.
Yep. Bob Pettit.
Yeah, Pettit came after Fulks.
Who was the third. The weird ones in between these two. And I also got Dolph Shays. Pettit was the 4th. Shays was the 2nd. I got Shays. I got Fulks. I got Pettit. I got Kareem.
And Mikan was not one of them.
No, Mikan was one of them for a short time. Was he? Yep. And I got him. Okay. So I got those 6. The guy I missed, I don't even know we had the record for a whole season. But at one point in 1957, one of the guys traded for Bill Russell, Ed McCauley, or whatever, how you pronounce his name, the forward, was briefly...
Easy Ed McCauley, yeah.
Yep, he was briefly the all-time leading scorer in NBA history.
Oh, wow. I would have never got that.
Yeah, no, that was the one I didn't get. I got Fulks, I got Shays, I got Mikan, I got Pettit, Wilt, and Kareem. I would never have gotten Ed. Really interesting stuff. So those are the 7 guys to this point. And what's interesting is taking out Wilt and Kareem, the other 5 that have at one point held the mantle collectively held it for less time than either one of those guys individually has.
Right.
So for the better part of NBA history, roughly 60 years of the NBA's 75-year history, I think it's 58 of their 75 years, that record has been held by one of two people, Wilt or Kareem.
I believe it. See, I would have never got, and I realized what a scorer he was. I would have never got Dolph Chase.
Yeah.
And time limited me to stall for 5 minutes. So
there you go.
While I was trying to think of them.
All right. Well, there we have it. So let's hit our hockey real quick, and then we'll do a couple of news.
Okay. Only 4 games last night. 3 of them involved locals. Mika Zibanejad had 2 goals. The Rangers crushed Florida 6-2 in the Garden. Islanders not so fortunate. They went up to Toronto, probably ate way too much poutine. Leafs 5, Islanders 2.
Poutine.
Owen Powers scores a minute into overtime. Buffalo starts their 4-game road trip with a 3-2 win against Dallas. Only 2 locals playing tonight on a pretty full 11-game schedule. Buffalo continues a road trip, second game of a back-to-back. They're in St. Louis. And the New Jersey Devils host Vegas tonight.
There you go. I like it. All right. So what do we got for news you can use?
An interesting piece of news you can use. What's his name came to his senses? Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
Momentarily. And apologized. He apologized to Dylan Brooks, John Morant, and the Grizzlies. See, the smart thing would have been never to be that stupid in the first place, but
well,
it's Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
He said he takes full accountability. And he was wrong. So good for him. Something that made me let out a couple of expletives when I saw this morning. Angels owner Artie Moreno, no longer interested in selling the team.
Oh,
why, Artie? Why?
Come on, Art.
Why are you doing this?
No. Can Steve Cohen own 2 teams? Do you have a twin brother, Steve?
That's a team that has a great situation, a great stadium, an excellent fan base, and money to spend, and can't get it right.
Well, that's the thing that's so interesting about Moreno is like he's not a cheap or non-aggressive owner. He tries. He always has. He just never gets it right, like you said. And it's like, so you almost want to you almost feel bad for the guy because it's one thing if you're just like Scrooge McDuck, like if you're the Wilpons or someone like that. Hey, no one feels bad for those guys. But when you try, like the way Dolan has forever with the Knicks, he tries. He's not sitting there, hoarding his money, swimming in his cash in his bank. Like he really does try. Like you got to give him that. Whoever owns the Orioles or the Pirates and the Marlins, the hell with those guys. They don't even try. But Moreno tries.
Right. Right. I got time for a couple quick ones.
Yes, let's do it.
Knicks radio analyst Brendan Brown, son of Hubie.
Yep.
Fired following harassment allegations.
He was fired. Wow.
Fired. No due diligence. No.
That's the way of the world now. Especially for announcers. All it takes
for the remainder of the season, various personalities, this one's interested, including former Knick John Wallace, will serve as the radio analyst. Wallace always had something interesting to say. I like that.
I mean, I'm available.
Well, he replaced a legend too, John Andres.
I thought Brendan Brown did a good job.
I did too.
Sad. Very frustrating.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of any of this.
It's always frustrating when due diligence does not happen.
Yes.
That's always frustrating.
One more quick one. Of course, now an NFL insider claims the Packers trading Rodgers is quite possible. Let's get into that tomorrow.
Okay.
Bronny James has interest in Oregon.
Yep, Oregon,
According
USC.
to his father.
Oregon, USC, and Ohio State.
Oregon, Ohio State, and USC are his top 3 schools.
Yep.
And I know LeBron has spoken to the Oregon coach. And LeBron says but they haven't offered him a scholarship. And LeBron said, "Oh, that's no big deal.
Yeah,
we can afford your school.
Yeah, yes.
If he really wants to play there, I think a scholarship will come. But the only 3 scholarship offers he got are USC, Ohio State, and Memphis.
See, I'll tell you this: if I was Bronny or any of these sons of highly successful NBA players, or I guess in other sports too, this would apply. As a gesture of building team and showing selflessness and self-awareness, even if I'm giving a scholarship, I'm asking the coach or the school to reassign it to someone who's maybe fringe, who otherwise can't necessarily afford to go here, because I don't need it. Like, let's be real. If it saves LeBron $100,000 a year, which would be a lot, but even if it saved him that much, that's like below nothing to him. It's completely irrelevant. That's like you and I buying a box of Tic Tacs. It's completely irrelevant.
It is. And like LeBron said, if he wants to play there,
LeBron will probably tell the coach, hey, give the scholarship to someone that needs it. We're good. You know, like, let's be real. You know, we're fine.
Considering how many people has he put through college already?
Exactly.
I mean,
right. No, that's exactly
okay.
Right. There we go.
That was some of the best of news you can use.
Awesome. And that does it for the Gary Ayd Show. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down the Packers and Rodgers. We'll have some of the reaction to these games. Of course, we'll have an opening rant and a new top 5. Sellers tomorrow at the deadline. A lot of good stuff. The question of the day. Back tomorrow, 10 to noon. CNN, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.